Welcome to Ball Talk Deep, where we talk deep about ball. It's Andrade and Irwin back at it again. Drop a like, drop a sub, drop a comment before we get into it. We post 5+ videos a week, and this time around we're bringing up an article on NBA.com titled Reasons for 14 non-playoff teams to look forward to the future. The offseason offers plenty of perspective and opportunity for non-playoff teams to take a step forward. Written by Michael C. Wright. We divided the article into two videos where we discussed 7 in 1. This is part 2 where we discuss the next 7. And basically how we go about it is we'll present you what the writer wrote for each team, and then we each give our own thoughts about that specific team.
Yes, sir. And starting off the list over here, we got Andrade's favorite team, one of his favorite teams, the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Minnesota has to finally feel like it is heading in the right direction. The Wolves go into the offseason with a big three of Karl-Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, and Anthony Edwards, who combined to lead the club to a 9-7 record to close the season. The Timberwolves are looking to establish a winning culture while setting standards for the future. Even if Minnesota loses its first-round pick to the Warriors, it has enough talent under contract to keep improving. If Gerson Rosas accomplishes his goal of improving the power forward spot, watch out.
Well, I mean, yeah, they do have some point to watch out if that happens. They got a nice young big three in Cat, in D'Lo, and in Anthony Edwards. He does not look like a bust as a number 1 overall pick. He does not. He looks like a very good
he ain't LaMelo though. Ain't no LaMelo.
He might be better than LaMelo, man.
Shut the fuck. Nah, I don't see that.
Without that hype,
he doesn't have that it factor. He seems like he could be a great player, but from what I've seen, he doesn't have that it. That special it. You know what I'm talking about?
He's just not your boy. That's all it is, man.
Well, because my boy Scrooge is compromising with people that got that it factor, like a Ja,
that boy shit.
Luka.
That boy shit is full of shit. It's like a fat whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think about this squad?
I don't know, man. I really don't have much hope in the Timberwolves because that organization has given me no hope based on how poorly run they've been managed since the Kevin Garnett days. Even then, it was very poorly managed for the most part. They destroyed the closest thing. There's a great, I think it was a deep rewind during the Kevin Garnett days or the fall of, I don't know, one of those. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, they really haven't been relevant. The one I had a little bit of hope when they had Butler, Cat, Wiggins, and I was like, wow, they really got a team going. And then even when they had Levine, and I was like, man, they got pieces. Maybe they can build around. And when none of those pieces kept missing, you know, as a whole for the organization, that's when I just realized, the Minnesota Timberwolves are just I don't want to say a dumpster fire, but they're a poorly ran organization. And when an organization is poorly run and no new owner is going to really fix that, because what does A-Rod know about basketball? Let's be honest.
He knows a lot about basketball.
I know he's not the main guy, but yeah.
I mean, he knows a lot about steroids. He is a champion.
He's going to pump these Timberwolves to the win.
He's going to pump them up with some steroids, some much needed steroids, and inject them all the way to Seattle for a relocation.
I would have a little more hope if maybe they were in the East, but I have so little belief in the Timberwolves that even if they were in the East, I still wouldn't feel like, 3 to 5 years, they got a good future.
Wolves fans, before you roast us, there is an inkling of hope. Facts are facts. They have been 9-7 to end the season. I know Andrade's about to hope. I'll be like, oh yeah, they did make the play. Oh wait, what? No, they didn't. But look, they got some pieces to be able to have some hope.
Look, the only time I thought maybe they had some hope in the near future was when they got D'Angelo. You know where I'm gonna go with this?
Oh god.
And that special trio of Cat, D'Angelo, and Devin Booker. Look it up, guys. Slam Magazine interview. Those three have a special bond. And when they were able to get D'Lo, I was like, oh shit, okay, Booker's in the Suns. They keep losing. Maybe in some miraculous way, Minnesota's able to pick up or trade for Booker. But the Suns have completely turned shit around. I don't want to say they're a winning organization yet, but they're instilling an actual winning culture as of now. So now I got no hope that Booker will ever play over there with those two. And it's just like, man, and I feel bad for Cat, man, especially after everything he's been through in the past year to
losing
two.
His mom to COVID.
Yeah, for a shit ton of family members, man.
Exactly.
It's crazy. I'm sorry. I think at most in 3 to 5 years they'll be middle of the pack.
we'll see what happens, man. The good thing is, Wolves fans, Andrade is wrong 5% of the time. So the Wolves might be that 5% demographic that is wrong. And moving on to the New Orleans Pelicans.
We saw flashes in Zion Williamson's rookie campaign, but now it's safe to call the man a bona fide star in this league.
He is.
Williamson and Brandon Ingram give New Orleans a strong core to build around, and you can't bat an eye at the Pelicans' flexibility raw from GM David Griffin's wheeling and dealing for draft picks. Decisions need to be made on restricted free agents Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart, but the franchise is probably only one player away from it finally fully living up to its potential.
You can see that happening. According to y'all in the fucking comments, sometimes you guys swear that Zion is the next coming of Michael Jordan.
He's not.
Even though, no, he definitely.
The guy has great talent, but I don't know. I'm still a little. I'm not gonna lie. I was very pessimistic early on with Zion.
You're naturally pessimistic,
but for the most part, but like his durability, even now, is still a question in the back of my mind, but a little less after this season.
Yeah,
and whether he can maintain a good weight for the next couple of years, because that's going to be big. If the guy gains a little bit of weight, kind of like Shaq, Shaq could have had a much longer career if he didn't fucking gain a shit ton of weight after like 01, 02.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of worried about Zion even maybe doing that even before, because we've seen it when he came from after the bubble, which obviously it wasn't a regular offseason.
Came jacked.
He had inflated. He was inflated. So that's a concern. But other than that, the guy's got the talent. I am a little worried. I don't know if he has that mindset though, like to be able to break through that wall and carry, not just lead, but carry a team.
I think he does
to the promised land, which for now is just like making the playoffs or making it past the first round. Because we've been able, Ja and Luka have been able to. Ja did it in the play-in tournament with the Warriors. He's not doing it in the first round, but he did it with the play-in tournament, where no one believed they were going to be able to do the Warriors, and he was the reason they broke through because he does influence his surrounding teammates.
Look, man.
And Luka, remember with the Mavs last year, they weren't supposed to go that far with the Clippers, and even this year. And he's able to push. Now,
he could.
Obviously, Luka hasn't broken through that wall.
He was on his way. The Pelicans were on the way of doing that. If Zion did not get injured, it would have been the Pelicans in that play-in tournament. And
maybe.
If that would have happened, things might have been a little bit different.
They got to keep Lonzo Ball, though. In my opinion, that guy has had an immense improvement this season, proving that he's the second best ball brother in the trio. And I do got hope for the Pelicans because, one, it's a good destination for free agents. Like, they're not top tier like in LA or New York, Miami, but warm weather, good culture, good lifestyle, players like that, you know what I mean? It's better than fucking cold-ass Toronto or even Chicago. What? Oh.
Not Anthony Davis.
And, well, because they were on their losing ways, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now they got David Griffin, who is a top-tier GM. You know what I mean? And with that and the draft picks that they got, I could see them not only trying to draft the best players they can, but, maybe doing some trade scenarios here and there. Because they got a good core, man. Brandon Ingram is a star.
Yeah.
Motherfucker's a baller. And he's got a good size on him. And you know how I am about... If a player's got a good template, like physical template or a good size or both, plus obviously the talent's there, then that potential increases significantly.
So 3 to 5 years, where do you see these guys?
I want to say definitely making the playoffs.
No shit.
But honestly, I could see them never getting over the hump, and in 3 to 5 years just calling it quits and breaking up this core.
Okay.
Honestly, that's how I foresee it. I don't think they'll ever be able to push through, especially with the West.
I think with David Griffin in 3 or 5 years, they could definitely be championship contenders.
What?
They'll be able to put the pieces around that. And Zion, I
believe in Zion.
I believe that much in Zion Williamson, and with how roasted I got in those comments, apparently y'all made me a little bit of a believer. He's not the next Jordan. Y'all need to chill with that shit. But anyways, moving on to the team that owns all of the NBA's first round picks for the next 30 years. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder.
You can't help but come away excited from GM Sam Presti's thought that when we do get back in the postseason, we want it to be an arrival, not an appearance. The Thunder have plenty of ammunition to make that happen, and there's a chance they can come out of the draft lottery with 2 top 10 picks. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Lu Dort are solid pieces alongside intriguing young players like Alexej Bukshevetsky and Theo Maledon. Presti will likely guide the Thunder back to relevance sooner than most expect. And like I've complimented Griffin, Sam Presti is also one of the top GMs in the league. So with that being said, and alongside all the picks Erwin has pointed out, I do have actually some solid belief in this team, and a big reason is Gilgeous-Alexander, man. Don't sleep on him. I think he could be. I think his ceiling's pretty high.
Yeah, man. Look, with the Thunder, man, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Boston Celtics when they had like a treasure chest of a lot of first picks. The key thing with them, they already got their star in place already with Shai. They got another good piece in Dort, and then the other interesting pieces that they had. The key thing for the Thunder is for the personnel that they have already in place to keep developing. And obviously not do the same thing that Danny Ainge did with the Boston Celtics. That you always hear the same shit in the trade deadline saying they got super close to acquiring Fulano or some other players and they don't strike. So they got to find the balance between using those picks to be able to pick that superstar in the draft. And if there's no superstar or whatever, make up your mind and bring a superstar to Oklahoma City Thunder via trade,
because Oklahoma City is not going to be one of the top tier destinations.
Hell no, they're definitely not gonna attract any superstar free agents. The only thing they're gonna attract is a fucking tornado, because they're in the middle of fucking tornado.
PG went because of Westbrook, but I think speaking of Westbrook, low key, there's a possibility SGA and Dort may end up being a future duo for this team, because I think I could see Dort developing into a good to great Robin. And obviously, Gilgeous-Alexander, I told you, his size for his position already combined with the talent that he's currently at and at the age he's at, they could be like OKC's next duo, like how they had Westbrook and Durant. Now, I'm not saying they have that same level of, talent or ceiling, but they could be that next duo to take over. Look. And if you got a good duo in the NBA, honestly, you can go pretty far. And the pieces, as long as the pieces coming together come along, they can make deep runs.
They'll be fine, man. Like the Thunder are that team that, hey, man, you're playing the 2K career, and you just decide to just blow it up, get as many picks as possible, and work it from there.
All those picks is just picking right in the draft classes and just using them for right trades. And like you said, just don't pussy out like Boston.
Exactly.
I don't think they'll be championship contenders in 3 to 5 years.
I think
maybe a little more.
I think they will.
3 to 5 years?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, they already got Shai.
I think they'll be in the middle of the pack in 3 to 5 years.
They don't sleep on them, man. They'll be fine. Now, this team, I'm not so sure if they're gonna be fine. I'm talking about the Orlando Magic.
At the trade deadline, the Magic started stripping down the roster to build it back up by jettisoning Nikola Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, and Evan Fournier, along with Gary Clark and Al-Farouq Aminu. Like OKC, Orlando could wind up with 2 top 10 picks in the draft, 3 picks in all. Combine that with Cole Anthony, RJ Hampton, and Chuma Okeke coming off strong rookie campaigns, not to mention the fact Markelle Fultz will likely be returning from next season from his knee injury. Magic fans should be downright giddy about an unknown yet promising future. And I'm going to stop you right there, Orlando Magic fans. Oh, God. Don't be too giddy, because just a couple years ago, I mean, he just mentioned all those names that they reset, they jettisoned away to reset. And I'm not going to be surprised if in the next few years that same thing happens, because the Magic have not been a well-run organization for a while. And honestly, that's it.
Look, I'm going to stop you in the pessimistic ways, man. Look, they did the right thing. They were in the worst position they possibly could have been in a franchise. When you have nightmares as a franchise, the Magic come into mind. You're average. You're way too good. You're way too good to be able to benefit from the lottery, and you're way too bad to be able to be in the championship contender, man. They weren't gonna do jack shit with with Aaron Gordon and those fellas right over there.
They didn't develop them right, man. And they didn't use them right.
They didn't use him right because you're obviously clearly seeing with Aaron Gordon how he's fitting in a first-class organization with the Denver Nuggets. That guy is thriving when it comes to that.
But I am rooting for them because of Markelle Fultz. Like, how he was able to improve and shine after his Philly days. Mm-hmm. Like, I hope he can just keep doing that, coming back from this injury. And with that, I'm not gonna root for the Orlando Magic, but I'll root for them. Casually.
I do want to see the Magic.
I want to see Fultz do.
I want to see the Magic do well because they come close twice. Once when Shaq was very young, and the other time during Dwight, that they got very close to getting over the hump, making it to the finals, but they just couldn't do it. we'll see what happens when
That's the thing though. They keep getting close, and they always fuck up. They fucked up with Shaq. They fucked up with Penny. They fucked up with T-Mac. They fucked up with Dwight Howard. They fucked up with Gordon Vucevic. They fucked up shit.
Look.
It's not gonna happen, guys.
Look, as we've seen here, here in Miami, that first championship is not the easiest to get. But once you're able to get that first championship, I think you'll be able to do it again. We'll see what happens.
3 to 5 years, man, they'll be middle of the pack, max. That's my take. I hope they make me my words.
3 to 5 years, they'll be in playoff contention, and they already have their next face of the franchise moving forward when it comes to that. Now, moving on over here, this would be the worst case scenario for the Magic 3 or 5 years down the road. The Sacramento Kings.
The Kings haven't reached the postseason since 2006, but better days should be on the horizon with the continued development of De'Aaron Fox, as well as Tyrese Halliburton, who turned out to be one of the better picks of the 2020 draft. By bringing back coach Luke Walton for a third season, Sacramento ensures the stability required to take the next step. However, roster depth remains an issue, but best believe the Kings learned some harsh lessons from the 2 9-game losing streaks that essentially sunk this season. I almost said winning streaks. Yeah, right. But I'm not gonna say I root for the Kings, but y'all know Fox is part of the boys' crew, and Halliburton may end up getting a spot there because he's a natural sniper, man. He's a smooth shooter. His efficiency is insane, especially for a rookie. And I'm very interested to see how he develops from here. And Fox was able to turn around after in like the half of the season. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because people were I was talking highly of Fox, and they're like, "Oh, how is he doing in this season?" This was like early on in the season, and then he came back around. I'm telling you, don't sleep on Fox. He's got the right mindset. He's got a good head on his shoulders. Watch his interviews. And obviously, when I say things like that, that's because the talent is a given for me when I say those things, guys. So, yeah, and he's he literally quick as a fox.
Oh, yeah, man. Swipe the Fox, man. You can't sleep on that. But look, man.
He improves his shooting, it's over. It's over.
Look, man, the Kings.
But he needs to leave the Kings if he wants to.
Man, you have everybody.
For his legacy.
Man, you have everybody leaving the Kings, man. I'm like, shit. Look, man. Yeah. The Kings, yes, they haven't been relevant since. Okay,
White chocolate.
Look, I know they haven't made they made the playoffs in 2006 when Kevin Martin was roaming that arena, but yeah, man, since 2001 when they were playing in Arco Arena with White Chocolate, Chris Webber, and those boys.
The greatest thing the Sacramento Kings have ever had is the highlight of Jason Williams doing the elbow pass.
Exactly.
Back elbow pass.
That and pushing the Lakers to 7 games back in the Shaq and Kobe era. But yeah.
Oh, man. There's a great rewind or fallout, whatever it's called, from Secret Base. I think. Damn, I'm forgetting the exact. I think it's that. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And that fallout for the Kings was intense, but again, goes to show how poorly run that franchise is. And I don't know if this owner is gonna be able to get it right. We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
3 to 5 years, I think they'll, for the most part, kind of be in the same spot. I'm not gonna lie.
Look, man, they'll probably be talking about another rebuild next year. But
which is crazy because Sacramento, when you think about it, has all the right things to be a good free agent destination. Like, after all the top tiers, like, go to... Bro, do you know where Sacramento is?
Yeah, it's in North California.
Okay. That's fucking great. Great weather, great state. I mean, you're going to get taxed up the ass, but so are you in LA and San Fran. And... like, come on. Compared to all these other... What do people with money want? Nice weather and a nice lifestyle and a nice environment. And Cali provides that. So Sacramento, if they got their shit together, I'm telling you, they could be one of the upper echelon destinations. They just got to get that organization right, management. That's it. It's that simple.
No. Okay, no, hell no.
I'm sleeping on Sacramento.
No, definitely not, man. I'll take my times to Miami or Texas, down Texas, before I take my ass to Sacramento.
To North Cali, bro. North Cali is beautiful.
Bro, in that case, I'll play with the Golden State Warriors, San Francisco.
Well, I'm saying if you can't go there.
Okay, there's other places, man. A lot of things that go wrong for me to end up in Sacramento. Just ask the Sun Whiteside. But anyways, moving on to the next team. I'm very surprised to see them over here because this is not a dumpster fire. I'm talking about the San Antonio Spurs.
It's strange to look at all the young talent assembled from 2006 to 18 and not think about what could have been. San Antonio drafted DeJounte Murray, Derek White, and Lonnie Walker IV to all someday play alongside former Spurs star Kawhi Leonard. The 2018 trade of Leonard to Toronto changed all that, but the Spurs continued assembling young talent in Quinndary Weatherspoon, Keldon Johnson, and Devin Vassell. Coach Greg Popovich reinvented the Spurs to play a different style, and they'll have about $60 million in cap space this offseason to continue to rebuild. Now with the Spurs, my biggest concern is in the 3 to 5 year span, I don't know if Popovich will have retired by then. You know, even in the max 5 years, maybe not, but he's already deep in his age. So, and he has a lot of mileage of him as an NBA coach, so it wouldn't surprise me. And with that, if Popovich is out of the Spurs, they're just going to have to reset completely. Because even if they find a good coach, they'll just have to reinvent the whole system, basically.
They'll be fine, man. Look, the same thing has happened to the
They've been working with Popovich for like 25 years, some shit like that.
Yeah, but it's similar to what happened with the Miami Heat, man. They had Pat Riley when they took over in the early to mid 90s. All simple what it is finding a legit candidate to pass the torch. Just like Pat Riley was able to find Eric Spoelstra, there's probably already somebody already in that Spurs organization that Pop already has in mind to pass that torch. I know it's gonna be a little bit of a transition, but something with first class organizations like the Spurs, like the Miami Heat, they don't stay like this for a very long time. So I have faith.
That's true. And I'm sure they got a chip on their shoulder after missing the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Exactly.
After having the longest, if I'm not mistaken, playoff streak of being in consistently for years.
A couple of things going on with the Spurs.
They have bad luck. Because if that whole Kawhi drama didn't happen, bro, think about how amazing it would have been
It could be a good luck in disguise. Kind of like what happened with the David Robinson injury that led him to Tim Duncan. This could be something as good as well.
It's been like 3 years since Kawhi's been gone.
I get you, man, but
who's taking it?
It's not the end of the world. They got lots of young pieces as they're showing right over here. They got $60 million in cap room. They got those things going on.
Free agents are gonna go there?
No, but they're gonna make.
They got 60 million. No.
But
so what's the point of having 60 million in caps?
Hey, look, man. There's gonna be teams that are gonna be wanting to dump some players to that cap room. They'll be able to get some assets. If anybody's gonna be able to use it properly, it'll be the San Antonio Spurs.
The biggest thing the Spurs have going for them is Popovich, and I'm sure there's a couple of NBA players that would love to play alongside him. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's the biggest thing they got going for them. Although in 3 to 5 years, I don't think they're going to be championship contenders, especially with all the other young teams we've pointed out. So, like Erwin said, A1 organizations do not stay down for long. So I do see him competing again, but I would say towards the later half of that 4 to 5 year future that I'm ranging, then I think that's when they'll be able to get back into the direction of competing again. I mean, with the Heat, it happened. LeBron left in 2014. Obviously, always forget
they'll
that
be
Bosh got to retire, but they came back in 6 years. It takes about that time. The Lakers took them years to get back into that top tier. Spurs probably take about between 5 to 10 years to find their footing.
I say
shorter than 5 years.
I say in 5 years, man. You can't sleep on the Spurs.
No, I said 5 to 10 years.
Bro,
the Heat weren't able to get back to the finals.
Yeah, because their dumbasses decided to pay Dion Waiters, Hassan Whiteside, James Johnson.
But they had to, bro.
Those
they had
motherfuckers.
To.
But
and the Spurs will probably be in some of those positions at some point because they got to use some of that space.
We'll see what happens. All right, let's move on. Toronto, the last team on this list, the Toronto Raptors. What happened to y'all, man? We the North, man. We the shit.
After playing a 2021 home games in Tampa, the Raptors finally get a chance to return to Toronto. There's some uncertainty regarding whether free agent Kyle Lowry and president of basketball operations Masai Ujiri will return, but they've already got solid enough pieces for Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and OG Anunoby to complete a rebuild with few hiccups. Keep in mind that Toronto hasn't drafted in the lottery since 2016, and it also owns the cap space to keep restricted free agent Gary Trent Jr., while bolstering the roster in other needed spots. Biggest thing to point out with the Toronto Raptors is if they lose Ujiri, I'm sorry guys, it's going to take a little longer to figure out, to get back into a serious contending shape. Mm-hmm. And another thing to point out is Masai Ujiri, if he leaves Toronto, pay attention to where he goes. Because wherever he goes, that motherfucking team is going to be in contention. If he doesn't go to a contending team already, they will be in contention in a few years.
Yeah,
that's how great of a GM he is.
He's pretty damn good when it comes to that. But with that being said, look, there's teams that are in worse positions than the Raptors. They got some pieces. VanVleet, he can straight up ball.
Siakam, I think he'll have a mini comeback season next season.
And guys, as the Raptors fans are gonna see, no, I'm talking about Gary Trent Jr. Portland Trailblazers fans, they can definitely say to that they didn't want him to go, and during that trade. That's a nice young piece that the Raptors have.
Combine that with OG?
With OG, they're not going to be bad for that long. Obviously, the key thing for them would be and they got a good coach in Nick Nurse, man. The guy.
I like Nick Nurse. He's legit. He's like what Brad Stevens was hyped up to be, basically.
Exactly. Look, the Raptors, I think, for the next 3 or 5 years are going to be stuck in the middle. When it comes to that, being in the Eastern Conference, obviously, like you said, it depends to how Masai is.
That's funny, because I've been saying stuck in the middle a lot. I agree with you for the most part, but if Anunoby or Trent Jr. can step up to be a Batman for this team, Siakam is already there. I think Siakam is a good to great Robin. So you pair that up, and Fred VanVleet stays there too, and he's a shooter, bro. That's a nice little core right there. And say Ujiri stays. Say he stays.
VanVleet's gonna stay. The reason why VanVleet's gonna stay because Kyle Lowry's probably gonna leave. More likely than not. If
Ujiri stays, he'll keep making the right moves, and I could foresee if we're talking 3 to 5 years, they can be actual competitors. Again, they're in the East, so that's a big help. Legit contenders in 3 to 4 years, I would say, if everything goes right. If Masai leaves, it's gonna be a little harder because GMs are very important to any basketball operation for an organization. But like I said, I have belief in OG and Trent Jr. And I don't want to say high belief, but I had some good belief in Siakam. But this season was a little disruptive in that. But hey, give it some time. I think they'll have a mini comeback. A lot of times, if they're good to great players, they come back with that fire.
But we'll see what happens, guys. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. What of these teams you guys think is going to be able to win a championship first? Which team over here do you think has the most future, best future, I guess, per se, like when it comes to building? Who do you think is like the worst dumpster fire? No hope whatsoever. You guys are fucked.
Who makes the finals first, guys? Who makes the finals first? Or who you think is never going to see a finals in the next 3 to 5 years? Let's go with 3 to 5 years. That's a good range.
And for you Zion fans, do you think that motherfucker is the next Jordan? Because you guys clearly think he is, and probably one of you motherfuckers are gonna say in the comments.
I mean, we did that video of next face in the league, and I don't know. It's Zion, Luka, and whatever that noise Jaw is making right now. It's a lot. West got a lot to play with in terms of possible futures.
But anyways, guys, appreciate all the love and the hate. You guys already know. Catch us on Twitter, TikTok, Spotify, Apple, and whatever.
All podcast platforms.
All podcast platforms. Ball Talk Deep, where we talk deep about ball. We'll catch you guys soon. For now,
take care.